first class of logo design with Adobe Photoshop. In this class, I'm going to be showing you how you can make a text logo design just by using Adobe Photoshop. Now, if you still didn't see my first lesson about the introduction to Adobe Photoshop, then I would suggest you go check it out again because there's going to be a couple of things which you need to know if you have zero experience with Adobe Photoshop. So, as I'm going to be showing you about text logo design, make sure not to skip any part of this class too, because if you do, you might miss out on something very important. So, without any further ado, let's hop onto our class by opening up Adobe Photoshop on our device. Now, as I've already opened up Adobe Photoshop, now what you basically have to do is that you have to open up yourself a new file. So for that, what we're going to do over here is going to be clicking on New File and then select the preset or the size, whichever one you want to use. Now, this is going to be a logo design, so I'm going to just select on Art and Illustration. Now, you can go off for 1000 into 1000 pixels, which is going to be 300 ppi, which is obviously going to give you a very good type of outcome and a result. So I'm going to click on Create, and this will just make myself up this type of preset or this artboard. Now, from here, what you basically have to do is that put in yourself a bit of text, but always make sure that whenever you are working on Adobe Photoshop, keep this layers windows turned on because that is going to be very helpful. So first things first is what we're going to do is click on this text option, and I'm going to do is going to be clicking on horizontal type text tool. Okay. And I'm going to select up the part on which part I want the text to be. So this is the text. Now I'm going to put in something. I'm going to select on Control A, delete all, and then put in your own text. Let's say if I type in TRO, or maybe type in TRO like this. Now select up the text again and select up the font. Let's say maybe I want something around 72. Okay, this is like totally perfect. And now I'm going to go off the character section. You can also change it from here, but you can also change it from here. Right click on this and select up the font, whichever one you want to use. So let's say I'm going to go down a bit more and find out the one which is actually looking a bit more better. There's going to be a lot of these samples which you will find out on Adobe Photoshop. And even though if you cannot find the one which you actually want, obviously you'll be able to download them, okay? So you don't have to worry about it. So let's just keep going down and find out the sample which is actually going to be looking good. Okay, this one looks good too. This one also looks kind of good. We can try using this. This one also looks decent, okay? Now, over here, we have the text layer, and this is basically the background. Even if we remove the background, the text layer is obviously going to be there, okay? So make sure to keep that thing in mind. Now, I'm going to do is going to be rasterizing the effects so that I can take each and every one of them as a shape. So right click on, like select this layer, right click on this, and obviously rasterize the type. Now, when I rasterize the type, you can basically see if I turn this off, this is how it looks like, okay? But this is still not a shape. So we have to turn it into a shape. So click on this option over here or click on this button to select up the area. Right click on it. And then what you're going to do is going to be cut out the part. So layer via cut. There we go. Select on all of them. Right click, layer via cut. Okay, select up this layer first. Right click, layer via cut. Now you can see R as a different one, T as a different one. Select up this. And there we go. We have O as a difference. So I'm going to do is going to be clicking on that. I'm going to click on layer via cut. Okay. So we have each and every one of them as individual ones. Okay. So I'm going to select on that. And first things first is that what we're going to do is make layers or customize this just a bit. Okay. First things first is that we're going to select on this pen tool, and I'm going to do is going to be selecting or starting from this part. So I'm going to do is going to be starting from this part, select. What I'm going to do is going to be making a bit of this rounded shape right over here. There we go. Control Z. This is what I want. Zoom out a bit. There we go. I basically want a leaf over here, so I'm going to do is customize it just a bit. Control Z, select up that part. And then I'm going to do is going to be, okay, let's just select on this area, Control Z again. There we go, looks quite good. As we have that, Control Z. Let's just undo this part over here. Control Z, just a bit shorter. There we go. Control Z, select up that area. Let's like see this. Let's just make it a bit more short. There we go. We got this. And then select on this part. And cut out, or let's say I'm going to do is going to be selecting something like this. Okay, let's just zoom out. And obviously you'll be able to change up the color of the path. Let's say if I have a path, this is going to be the shape. So make sure to always put in the shape too. Obviously just select on again. First off, just change it to, let's say, linear, or let's say I'm going to put it to be only stroke first. So let's just zoom in again. Click on that, select up the path. You can select up like this shape. And then you can change up the color just by clicking on swatch. But this is still on, let's say, a layer, okay? Or this is still a path, okay? So you just have to make sure that this has turned into a shape. Only then you'll be able to turn it into a color. So I'm going to do is going to be, let's say I'm going to remove all of these and turn that back into a shape. So I'm going to click on this pen tool again. This is going to be the shape. So let's click on this first. Let's zoom in a bit more. This is how it's going to be. So I'm going to do is going to be making something different over here right now. There we go. Now from here, what you can basically do is just select on this and change up the color. This is how it will look like. And then what you can basically do is that we have the shape, right? Now we can just take this out, press on delete, and this is how it will look like. Okay. But you can also customize it just the way you want to. You can press on Control Z to make different shapes out of it. Let's say maybe I'm going to click on this pen tool again. And obviously you'll be able to customize it the way you want to. If you want to make a leaf, obviously you'll be able to do that too. Let's say maybe I'm going to do is going to be turning it out something like this. There we go. Corner. And now take this up till here. And then you can obviously change the color. Okay, there we go. And take out this R over here and delete it. So we have one of this. Now, what I'm going to do is going to be customizing our T just a bit, okay? Because we want the T to also look a bit like this R, like rounded, okay? So I'm going to do is going to be taking this T over here and clicking on the shape. First things first, I'm going to do is going to be selecting of the parts where it needs to be cut. That is basically it. So let's just select up this area, Control Z. This is what we want basically. But I'm gonna do is going to be customizing this one just a bit too. Also, I'm gonna do is customize this just a bit more. Let's say maybe something around this one. Something like this. There we go. This is the exact shape we need. Now select up the part, select on this, and select first off, select on this one, right click. And you're going to do is going to be rasterizing this one too. Rasterize the layer. There we go. Now, first things first is that you have to select up this area. Now right click on it. And obviously you can make a layer cut out of this if you want to, but obviously you'll be able to delete up the bottom part. So as we have the shape, now I'm going to do is going to be selecting on this and then click on this quick selection tool over here. Keep it on. And then you're going to do is going to be selecting this part. Okay. Now, after you select on this part, just press on delete. Or first off, you have to make sure, what I'm going to do is going to be pressing on delete. And then this is going to be selected. Okay. Then press on control. Make sure to select on T over here. Just this one, T. And then first off, press on delete. Okay. Now, when you press on delete, just make sure to click on this. And then if you just try removing up this part, and there you go, you can see that this one has been like removed. So I'm going to do is going to be deleting up this part. Now we can just remove up this part because we don't need it anymore. So I'm going to do is going to be selecting up or finding this part. Let's just say I'm going to do is delete it. There you go. Deselect. Just unlock it and delete. So we have our T over here, we have our R, and we have our O. Now I want to customize this O just a bit because I want to scale this R, okay? Another thing, what I'm going to do is going to be clicking on this pen tool over here, and I'm going to do is going to be clicking on shape. There we go. This is what it should be looking like. This is how it should be. Select up the color and make sure to keep it black. Select up this area and remove this. There we go. We have our T. And the last thing we need is to do is customize our O. And basically this is very simple if you follow up these steps. Now, as we've removed our actual text, now I'm going to go off to our shapes, which is this one and this one. So this is the R, and I'm going to do is going to be rasterizing this. So there we go. We have rasterized it. And now click on this quick selection tool again and select up this part and then go off the select. And we're going to do is going to be modifying it to expand it. So click on expand and now expand it by the number you want to expand it by. So it could be either 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to do is going to be putting in something like, let's say around 20. Apply effect. You can also apply effect on canvas background too if you want to. But I would suggest you not to do it because if you do, like sometimes it discards, but you can try using it too and press on OK. This is how it's going to look like. Now you're going to do is going to just press on, like keep it on something like this and select on O. There we go. Select on this O over here. Just press on this. Press on delete. There we go. You can also select on this and also delete. Okay, you just have to rasterize this T2 over here. So I'm going to do is going to be selecting on this part and this part. Right click, you have to rasterize that layer. There we go. Now if you just check it out, Control D or Control Delete. Now deselect it. There we go. We have our R over here, and you'll be able to customize it however you prefer. This is how it looks like. And obviously you'll be able to customize this O too. So I'm going to click on this O over here, and you can just like change up the way it looks like. Okay. You can just change the way or the color of this like this. You can fill it up with color, or you can just use this pen tool to make its shape too. So I'm going to do is going to be making its shape. There we go. We have that shape. Now, obviously we can just take that out. There we go. This is how it will look like. Now you can select up all of these, group them up, and then what you basically have to do is rasterize each and every one of them. So especially this O over here, right click, rasterize the layer, and there we go, we have our shape. Now what you can basically do is change up the color of these ones too. Let's say maybe you can go off the colors and you can select up the part, but the more easier way is that just click on this effects over here and then go off to color option, color overlay, or maybe gradient overlay. So I'm going to put in something like gradient overlay. So I'm going to do is put on like this. And if I just turn it on, if I'm put it in normal, what I do is going to be putting in something around like greens. You can also customize it the way you want to. Maybe I'm going to put it something like this. Go to the next one, go off to effects, gradient overlay, put the same thing if you want to. Let's say I'm going to put in radial this time. And you can just change up whichever color you prefer. Maybe somewhere around this. There we go. And now we'll just go to the last one, effects, gradient overlay, change it to a different color too. Maybe something, I want something like this on the O, like a bit green, okay? So what you can do is just customize it the way you want to. And what I can also do is apply a bit of stroke so that it also looks good. So I'm going to go off the stroke, can fix in the stroke size. Opacity should be higher. Position should be outside. Color should be also gradient. There we go. Can change up whichever color you prefer. There we go. And you can also put it inside if you want to, okay? It's basically up to you, whichever one you want. So I'm going to put it outside most of the time. That's what I do. Press on OK. And there we go. We have our logo. You can just put it up on any mockup you have. And you can also save it up and use it anytime you want to. So thank you for watching this video up till the very end and hope you understood about everything in this class. If you still have any confusion about any part of the lesson, feel free to ask me anytime. I'm always there to help you out. So without any further ado, let's move on to our next class of logo designing with Adobe Photoshop.